Hello, and welcome to another episode of Reading Reddit with Amber. Today I have another batch of stories from r/Am I the Jerk for you. Our first story is, Am I the jerk for calling my sister out for editing photos of my daughter? So I'm a 33-year-old female, my daughter is 16, and my sister is 23. My sister is obsessed with her Instagram. Like, she posts 3 to 4 times a day. She's got an appearance and standards. My daughter has struggled with her weight for a while. She's 1.8 meters tall and 13 stone. Our goal is to get her down to 11 stone. My sister took a picture of her and my daughter and posted it on Instagram. My daughter was really excited, but when she checked it, she got really upset. She hasn't left her room yet. My sister had heavily edited the picture so my daughter looked skinny. I was extremely angry and phoned my sister to tell her to take it down / post the unedited photo. She refused, telling me that she just wanted to show the world what a beautiful girl my daughter was and that she promotes health. My daughter is trying to lose weight. It isn't her fault, and she's a beautiful growing girl. My sister has crushed her. So I commented on the photo, "I'm ashamed. My daughter is beautiful without the heavy editing going on in this photo. Be ashamed, sister, for body shaming a teenager. Take this down immediately and apologize." My sister didn't see the comment in time and got a bunch of negative comments. She took it down but phoned me in tears saying I hurt her and that she's sorry but she didn't mean it, etc. My husband thinks that I went overkill. Am I the jerk? Reddit says OP is not the jerk, and I agree. There's no excuse for photoshopping a child's body, especially when you already know she is insecure about her weight. And how is digitally altering someone's figure promoting health? The aunt deserved to be chewed out for what she did. Our next story is, Am I the jerk for calling all men Kevin? I'm the only woman in my workplace of about 50 people. Mostly this is okay, except for the sales team. They're mostly younger men who will turn anything into one of two things. A, you-know-what measuring contest, or a very obnoxious joke. They have jumped on the Karen meme with both feet, both hands, and a duck. The only issue is that they don't just use the name Karen to talk about someone who is behaving in that snobbish, I want to speak to your manager way. They use it for all women. Women standing in line? Karen. Hairdresser full of women? Crowd of Karens. Older woman getting on the bus? Old Karen. Couple of female kids, look to be about 8 to 9, in their brownie uniform doing litter picking with a group? Little Karens. Resultantly, all women equals Karen, and Karen equals deserving of ridicule and mockery, and thus we have ended up at all women equals deserving of ridicule and mockery. And I ignored it at first, figuring that it wouldn't last and then move on to something new, as they normally do, but it's been months and they're still doing it. An attempt at a lighthearted convo I tried with one of them pointing out that maybe it was problematic got me, unsurprisingly, called a Karen. So I started calling all men Kevin whenever I am in earshot of one of them, including them. And when I am referring to them, I really go all out. Like, make a really loud nasal whine and draw the word out. Especially if they're ticked off about losing a sale. Aw, is Kevin having a bad day? This apparently is a lot funnier than their Karen line, so other people have picked it up and run with it. So now sales are ticked and telling me I'm the jerk. I don't think I am, and I'm planning on letting it run for maybe a week or so after they drop the Karen thing. Then I'll drop it. Am I the jerk? Management are as useful as an underwater hairdryer, so have done sweet FA through all of this. Job hunting is underway, but nothing so far. Edit. For info, we don't have HR. Or rather, we do, but it's a third party we've contracted out to, and on such a cheapskate rate, pretty much all they do is handle payroll. We are an IT service provider, so we don't have customers or clients in the office most of the time, and while this sort of back and forth is tolerated as banter, anything that even hinted at a lawsuit would get me blacklisted from the industry. I am nowhere near retirement age. I can't afford that. And yeah, I will admit that I am not a big fan of the sales team. While this is the longest running garbage they've pulled, it is definitely nowhere near the most obnoxious. Reddit says OP is not the jerk, and so do I. It seems like OP has found an effective strategy for dealing with her annoying coworkers. Our next story is, Am I the jerk for not wanting to have kids even if my husband is the main bloodline? I'm a 27-year-old female and my husband is a 29-year-old male. September of last year is when he proposed to me. During that time, I reminded him that I do not want any kids, and he's been aware of this ever since we started dating. He has always assured me that he supports my decision, but when we announced the engagement to his family, my mother-in-law got excited for her soon-to-be grandchildren. That's when I realized that his family was not aware that we're not having kids, but he told me he's going to explain it to them. And so we got married in February this year. Today we visited his parents. We haven't visited them for long due to the pandemic lockdowns, and surprisingly my mother-in-law asked how is my medication on my PCOS going. My husband immediately answered that it was going well, but I was confused. When we got home, I asked him what happened. He told me that his parents think I have PCOS so that we can't have children yet, because he thought I might change my mind in the future. I told him that I clarified to him before that I don't want any kids, and I won't ever want to have one. I messaged my mother-in-law to tell her the truth, and she became enraged, telling me that I'm being selfish because my husband is the eldest son of the eldest son of the eldest son and so on, thus being the main bloodline of their family. It's been really full of chaos, but my family fortunately supports me in my decision. My husband still thinks I'd change my mind someday, but I won't. Sorry if the story is a little fuzzy, but am I the jerk for refusing to have kids? TLDR, my husband lied to his parents saying that I have PCOS instead of admitting that I do not want kids. Edit, PCOS stands for polycystic ovarian syndrome. It's a medical condition that causes infertility but is treatable in some cases. Edit 2. Thank you everyone for the advice and support. I will make sure to give an update someday. Reddit agrees that OP is not the jerk, and so do I. If someone says they don't want kids, take them at their word. Sure, some people do change their mind, but a lot don't. And it shows how little the husband thinks of his wife that he married her, assuming that he knows her better than she knows herself. Also, what is up with this main bloodline nonsense? Technically, my little brother is the oldest son of the oldest son of the oldest son, but he's the baby of the family, my dad was the middle child, and my grandpa was the youngest of two. Can I have a special title for being the oldest daughter of the oldest daughter of the oldest daughter? Anyway, Opie doesn't owe anyone kids, regardless of how many oldest sons there are in hubby's line. She was clear about her intentions at the outset of their marriage. Husband and mother-in-law are the ones being unreasonable here. Our fourth story is, am I the jerk for refusing to eat my boyfriend's food? I'm quite eager when it comes to sports. I do mainly fencing, yoga, and tennis/badminton, but I try to do something different now and then. I never really cared for the diet that much, probably as I eat relatively healthy, save it for my sweet tooth. My boyfriend has it covered all. He plays ice hockey, so there's slightly different expectations, and he really likes eating proper, gains that, gains this. When we met, my eating habits were a big surprise for him. He tried to correct them, like trying to minimize my snacking before bed, but it either didn't work out, I couldn't sleep with my stomach being empty, or I refused. Eventually he agreed it was a bit stupid and we had giggles about the absurdity. Last winter I suffered from nasty pneumonia and then, right before Corona, my cat almost bit off my finger. It got swollen because of the infection and my whole forearm was immovable. I could only walk, but since my lungs were still sensitive, it wasn't the greatest option either. I was grumpy, and since I tend to eat a lot when I'm ticked off, I decided to cook different meals and eat mostly healthy. Lots of veggies and vegan/plant-based recipes, etc. I sneaked some cakes here and there, but it wasn't that frequent. As soon as my hands started to like me again, I slowly began exercising, switching to my old way of eating. Instead of me, my boyfriend was now the grumpy one. He supposed I'd stick to the old diet for eternity. We didn't see each other much, not living together, so he couldn't do much. The trouble is, since the restrictions loosened up, my boyfriend's really nagged me. Immensely. When shopping alone, he doesn't buy anything sweet for me. When we go out together, I almost have to explain every single item I put there, leading to me shopping alone and barely eating at his place, as he cooks ultra protein thingies and I don't really eat meat. My blood was boiling when he gave all my sweets and junk food to my neighbors, saying it would not tempt me. He gave me cash, but the nerve! I restocked it immediately. We also stopped going to restaurants, as he tried to suggest what I order, causing my appetite to perish. Well, last week became the highlight of this game. I had my period, aka I was annoyed, in pain, and craved sugar. It always helps me. My boyfriend offered to buy groceries, I asked for chocolate, and make me snacks. I was so happy till I found out he only bought some weird food, and by a snack, he meant a bread with seeds, avocado spread all over it. I don't like avocado, or this kind of bread, at all. I told him he better be going. He didn't want to, and I said he acts like a controlling maniac, absolutely not respecting my boundaries and food preferences. He claimed to be watching out for my health, and I walked him out. He demands an apology, saying I acted mean. Am I the jerk? It could be my hormones speaking, though I once almost ended up in an abusive relationship, and therefore I am a bit sensitive. Reddit says OP is not the jerk, and I agree. I think these two comments are on point. Not the jerk. My blood was boiling when he gave all my sweets and junk food to my neighbors, saying it did not tempt me. That was where he went from really annoying to really controlling. And then Lady Lumiere replied, when I read that, I got so mad. The audacity. My snacks are my life. I was starved growing up, so food is the one thing I get controlling over. And yeah, I love my snacks, so this one really got under my skin. There's nothing wrong with eating a little junk food. Giving away someone else's food without their permission and scrutinizing everything they buy is controlling. Opie deserves a partner who won't chastise her for eating a slice of cake. Now our final story is an update to a story I've covered previously. I'm going to link to this one off to the side, and if you haven't seen that one, I'd recommend watching it first, otherwise the update won't completely make sense. This is the update to, Am I the jerk for possibly making my parents homeless? Hey folks, it's been like 3 weeks and many things have happened. I graduated high school, go me, I turned 18, and I moved out. I finally feel like I'm adulting, kind of. I moved in with my sister the day after my birthday, and I've been living with her for a bit over 2 weeks. It's been really weird. They do all this stuff in her house that we never did as kids. Family dinners every night? Never done it once until now. My sister and her fiancé carve out blocks of time to spend with the kids. My parents never did that. My oldest nephew, he's 10, dropped an open can of pineapple in the kitchen a few days ago. I expected him to get yelled at, but my sister just helped him clean it up and told him to grab a new can from the pantry. That was weird. My parents were never that chill. When I was a kid, I would see these perfect families on TV. Shout out to Dinosaur Train LMAO. And my parents always told me that those kinds of parents didn't exist. That it was all made up for TV. That real parents don't take that much of an interest in their kids' lives and interests. I believed them until now. In the past few weeks, I've seen my sister and her fiancé spend hours making model planes with my oldest nephew, or rocking the youngest to sleep when she was overtired. That stuff never happened when I was a kid. My niece, she's 4, woke up in the middle of the night last week, crying about something. Instead of telling her to shut up and go to bed, my sister's fiancé got up and sat with her until she fell asleep. I guess I was just surprised that my experiences aren't the norm. Anyway, both my brother and I are doing really well here. My brother has been cooking a lot, he's going to culinary school, and everyone seems to really appreciate it. I've been spending time with my nieces and nephew, and I have played more Minecraft these past 2 weeks than I think I've played my entire life. If anyone knows what Titanfall 2 is, please help me out. I've been an adult for less than a month, and these children and their newfangled video games already confuse me. This is all just a very long-winded way to say thanks. If I hadn't posted here, I don't think I would have moved out. My savings would basically be drained, and I wouldn't be as happy as I am now. So thank you. Now I guess it's time to see if I can figure out how to do an update post. Edit. Shout out to my sister for basically raising me for 12 years and also being an amazing parent. I could just go and say all of this to her face, but there's so many stairs in this house and I'm lazy. Kalani, how many times am I going to have to say it before you accept that you're a good person? Every time I go to thank you for giving up space in your house for me and Cam, you say that if you didn't help us out, it would have been someone else. I get that you have strangely low self-esteem, as evidenced by your Am I the Jerk post, but can you just accept that you're an unbelievably good person and move on so I can finally thank you? Edit 2. I have enough advice on Titanfall. Thank you guys. I didn't realize it had such a big community. I now know how to beat every single campaign boss, plus why I should definitely use a Scorch in the last boss battle. Thanks. I just love seeing such a happy update, so I wanted to share it with you all and end on a high note. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, I'd love it if you give it a like or let me know in the comments. I release new videos twice a week, funny or outrageous ones on Wednesday and spooky ones on Sunday. Thanks for watching and have a great day.